Anytime we get an opportunity to support the arts, obviously that's inclination is absolutely, let's do that right now. But there's always a little bit of a trick to kind of figure out, like, is it a good fit? Is it the right thing? And so I don't want to just put artwork out there to look nice. What we're about at the gallery so much is trying to help people tune into the creative process, understand what goes into a piece of art, and help them learn how to connect to it. So I'm always looking for a connection. I always claim, as an artist, my art form is more about building connections, and I just use photography as my main route of transportation, but I'll use anything I need to. I didn't know a ton about the Nutcracker, and like anything, the first step for me is like learn and research as much as I can. So, because I was trying to find some inspiration, find a direction. We had already arranged for the dancers to come, but now I'm like, well, what's the direction of these photographs? So I started doing some research, and I came across some education about Tchaikovsky and how he was commissioned to do this piece, how he struggled to find inspiration with it. He was doing it sort of as to maintain his reputation, and I get that, because as an artist, as things happen, you're like, but how am I going to make it meaningful? So he really struggled with figuring that out. He had a tour, a composer's tour along the route while he was supposed to be writing this. And along his travels, he went into a pretty heavy depression, and which he struggled with for his life anyhow. But during that time, he went, I think, somewhere in France, if I remember correctly, and he spent about 10 days trying to just isolate himself to figure out and start writing and getting this down. His brother got news that his sister, their sister, had passed, and I forget her first name, but Tchaikovsky referenced her or knew her as Sasha. And Sasha was, as I understand, a sister who had lost her daughters, I think, to illness, I believe. So there's a lot of turmoil happening in this family. And she was sort of Tchaikovsky's stronghold as a child. She was there for him. They had a strong relationship. Tchaikovsky went to Paris before he was going to go to the States, and he found in some print source, couldn't tell you exactly what it was at the time, but he saw the obituary or the reference to his sister's death, and which totally dive-bombed him, and he went into deeper depression. The interesting piece to all this that I found very inspirational was, it was at that point that this shallow to him story took on a whole new meaning. There's a lot of darkness and depth. The character of Clara really became a personification of his sister Sasha, and the celebration of Christmas time and stuff became a very direct reference point to his growing up with her. And so to see this transformation of this character in such a beautiful way, he found a lot of inspiration in that connection. He had made that connection. And so once I heard that, I'm like, oh, that's it. Like there's just, most things in art, there's a lot of depth, but you don't see it at the surface level. You gotta get to it. I wanted to tap in and connect to that too. So this piece is titled Sasha, after his sister. The Nutcracker, people are gonna go see it, and they see the dance, and the dancers, it's just incredible, and it's beautiful, such a wonderful art form. But there's another piece to the puzzle that I don't think we always tap into, that there's a depth and a heaviness and a passion, and there's pain that goes into being so graceful and wonderful. And so I wanted these pieces to be a little bit heavy, a little bit more stagnant than we're used to seeing the dancers. I wanted there to be a depth that we had to look into. I wanted them, when I talked to the dancers, I told them the story, and I said, I want you to tap into that. I want you to look into the camera, understand, and try to make that connection. Those dancers are connecting it's like a time capsule. Like it's just amazing when you really start thinking about it. It's like mind-blowing. It's like astronomical stuff where it's like every time I fly in a plane, I'm like, how the heck does this thing get off the ground? I know it's cool physics and all that, but it's just always still amazes me. When you look into space, it's the same thing. And it's the same thing when a right piece of art, when you look at it, it's just like, wow, all the things that have to come together. And the neat thing is, what makes that possible is the way we're all connected to it. You know, a piece of art is nothing without somebody looking at it and feeling from it. Otherwise, it's just something on the wall, and frankly, it's like it doesn't even exist. It requires that exchange. A conversation. It's a conversation. Every time you look at a piece of art or you enjoy it, you should enjoy the conversation. It's just like sitting with a friend. A piece can have initial impact, but that impact can grow and grow and grow. And it's just having had that experience and having that so often, not only in creating art, but with other artwork, I'm still learning and growing. Like even just this research on the Nutcracker was a reminder to me, like, gosh, I don't spend enough time. And when I do, it takes me to a whole new place, and it's transformative. It changes you. And that's what we're trying to share with others.